Hello everybody and welcome back to the Decan Walk videos. This is Capricorn 2. I was unable to shoot and we missed Capricorn 1. These are the cards from Capricorn 1. So I'm just going to kind of recap really fast on them, but we're not going to spend too much time on them. We're moving on from this Decan, and I feel like most of us have this book at this point, and you were able to continue on and do it yourself for that one Decan that I was unable to record for. Things were just too busy with the hecticness of Christmas and the way that business is for me during that time of during that portion of the year. I just was there wasn't enough time in the day, so I was unable to record anything. If you follow along, you saw that I posted some stuff just to kind of keep us in the loop of it all. But today we were able to get into this, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking, just a little bit of time talking about this energy here. I felt that it was really interesting that this is the Decan, obviously, that happened during Christmas, right? And I found it really interesting in Susan's book how she talked about in the end of the chapter how for her the Two of Pentacles shows up in an exchange when exchanges are happening, or the giving of one thing for another thing, right? So I thought that was really interesting that that is right during Christmas, because obviously it is the exchange of presents, it is the exchange of food, of hospitality, of time, of vibes, of like so much, right? So I thought it was really interesting. And then, like, when I was setting them up, I kept looking at the Wheel of Fortune, and like sometimes the Wheel of Fortune's good, sometimes the Wheel of Fortune's bad. It's that change of luck, right? And I thought to myself, like, sometimes you really enjoy where you're going for Christmas, and then sometimes you don't enjoy where you're going for Christmas. So I feel like the Wheel of Fortune really came into play with that. The Devil card for me, the first thing that popped into my head is being locked in. Whether you are into organized religion or you're pagan or what you are, it's it's inescapable. Christmas, you have to be part of Christmas, whether you want to or not, whether it goes with what your belief system is or it doesn't. And I feel like when I looked at the devil in this setup, that's what came to mind for me, was the fact that it doesn't matter if you like Christmas or you don't like Christmas, or you want to celebrate it or you don't want to celebrate it. It's happening, and you have to go to things and you have to be part of things. And I feel like for me, like, I like Christmas. I have no problems with Christmas, but I feel like it is forced upon us, right? It is forced upon us, whether we follow the religious aspect of it or not. And I feel like that is like what this card, like what came out for me when I looked at it. Obviously, we've changed to Capricorn, which is an earth sign. It is a cardinal sign, and we remember what that means, right? We did change some of our other vibrational energies that come in during these times. So different personalities or different moods, right, that we run into. So we've got the Ace of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Page of Swords. I feel like those cards make sense during the holidays, to me anyways. They do make a lot of sense to me. So let's get into Capricorn 2 and look at those different cards. We do have lights on. You can see it's a little shadowy. There's a little bit of glare happening on up here, and I can't help it. I live in Canada, and it is, I don't know, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is dark, like dark outside, because it's rainy and really heavily overcasted. So unfortunately, there will be lights having to be used, and it just kind of creates a little bit of dark shadowiness happening until I can figure out how to change that. I mean, obviously, I'm not a lighting tech person, but it's the best that I can do. So let's get in here and let's change all of these things out. All right, so our planetary energy is changing from Jupiter to Mars And I'll try not to destroy my own table, but you guys know I'm like a bull in a china shop for some reason when it comes to these cards. Okay, and we are saying goodbye to the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Pentacles. And the new energy that's coming in is the Tower and the Three of Pentacles. In the Hermetic Tarot, it is the Blasted Tower, the Three of Pentacles. So the Blasted Tower is a load of the hosts of the mighty, and Three of Pentacles is Lord of material work. All right, and the Devil is staying with us. And then obviously none of these cards change. Those have just been changed. I already know how this is coming through for me. As usual, I feel like I'm a little ahead, and I share my information to help you guys relate, or just to kind of make it relatable and to say, hey, this is happening in my life, and it helps you guys maybe see it, you know, how those energies come into your life. And that's how I tend to do it all the time, even when I'm teaching and doing like my own my small business stuff. I'm a story sharer, because I feel like if I talk about how it's affected me or how it's come into my life, it makes it relatable and makes it a little bit more mundane, right? And it makes it easier for people to understand. Now, the interesting thing with this is when we see the Tower, everybody automatically, me included, go, oh shit, like here's the Tower. Like, damn it. Like what is going to go wrong? But I think in this circumstance, even with this Mars energy here, the first thing that came to mind when I saw this Tower card in this Decan is I thought to myself, but not all upheavals are bad. Some upheavals are good, like winning the lottery, you know, inheritance after a horrible situation, something good comes forward, right? I feel like the Tower is always looked at in a negative light. 100%. When I see the Tower, I'm like, oh man, like really? Now what? Right? But like some of these upheavals and some of these big changes that the Tower forecasts, some of them are good. Some of them are needed. Some of them are unexpected but wonderful, right? And this, I just kept thinking about like working, um, collaboration, working together, doing things. The Devil card in this situation is a little different to me. Um, I haven't quite figured out how I feel about that card in this situation. But for me personally, where I see this is going is I have this need or want to kind of change my small business, like my personal business. I feel that I don't know if it's the right words to say, but I feel like the passion and the drive behind my small business isn't the same anymore. I feel like it's dwindling in a way, and I feel like there's changes that need to be made to kind of breathe fresh air back into my business. And I feel like that's what this is kind of coming down to. Um, I just feel like this desire, this need to just kind of add more in or change something or do something different or uh change things up. And the funny thing is that it's kind of the energy that's been slowly building all year up to this point. And I just have this feeling that like I need to bring a new element in, I need to bring something different, and I feel like the energy is kind of getting a little stagnant. And I feel like that's what these cards are forecasting for me very much, is that desire, that want, that need to change something, to bring some new elements in. And that's definitely where I feel like this is going to be probably going for me. Because after this video, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to start looking at changes I can make, things that I can do differently, kind of shifting my gears a little bit more towards the things that are interesting me more right now. When you do the same thing every day, all day long for the last 6 years, here 6 years, years other places, but here 6 years at this location, it kind of gets a little repetitive and it kind of gets a little stale. So I feel like it's kind of time for me to kind of maybe spend this quiet period and try to figure out like where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to change things, or what's going to stay, or what's going news coming in, like different things like that, right? So I definitely feel that. All right, let's briefly check out Susan's book, because I do not want this video to be really, really, really long. That's not my goal here. So I'm going to read a little bit as usual out of the book. I'm going to probably skip a majority of this and leave this for you guys to discover on your own. But I do want to touch a little bit on what she has said about this Three of Pentacles. So she starts the chapter with: the deceptively straightforward Three of Pentacles harbors a secret in the recesses of its two darkened doorways. Behind door 1 is the Tower, and behind door 2 is the Devil. Not since the Five of Cups, where the Tower met death, have two major arcana of such baleful aspects joined forces. But here, instead of the Grim Reaper, the Tower meets the Master of Strategy, whose plans are setting on winning, winning, and so much winning. Why is the Tower's mortal force so different in character here? We'll get to that in a moment. And then she goes on to talk about the Devil and the Sea Goat and comparing that. And she talks about the closer look at the foundations of the Capricorn, the sign of the Sea Goat. She goes into like the myths of it all. And then I wanted to touch on this aspect here. She talks about the Three of Pentacles and other cards. Unlike the other planets, Mars rules 6 decans. They are the lords of dominion, despair, valor, disappointment, work, and satiety. It's worth taking a moment to ponder how these ferocious gods who invoke such terror in the Tower card shows his face in the smaller 6 cards. In the Two of Wands, he breaks forth without heed to consequences, bent on conquest. Nine of Swords, he stimulates the imagination and whips up the specters that drive conflict, which is fear and terror. In the Seven of Wands, he brings forward the to face adversity, the nerve to persevere. Five of Cups, he confronts us with the shock of loss so that we may learn to move on. In the Three of Pentacles, he strengthens both resolve and the capacity to carry it out. And then the Ten of Cups. So the Ten of Cups, it's not what he's known for, but Mars fathered Harmonia, goddess of harmony, during his affair with Venus. As the cosmic guardian of strife, he may also withhold it, ensuring civil and domestic concord. Right? So those are all our different faces and different elements that we see with Mars coming in here, right? And that's what made me think of, like, not all upheavals are bad, right? Not everything, all these big changes have to be negative. So then she talks about when you draw the Three of Pentacles, you have a chance to make your mark on the world. Channel your energies into something tangible, a project, collaboration, an artifact to treasure. It is wise to remember, though, that the passion and the efforts are the treasures here, not just the resulting object. For this reason, people often find the Three of Pentacles, or the Lord of Work, an effective remedy for its elemental opposite, the Three of Swords, or the Lord of Sorrow. And then she goes on to quote, drowning one's sorrows in work, right? While it is certainly possible to take this too far, most of us can benefit from a dose of the empowerment and the sense of accomplishment which are native to the card and its decan. So obviously I skipped quite a bit. However, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. And like I said, at this point, most of us have this book and you can go into depth with that yourself. But I do want to go back and talk about how in the beginning of the chapter, she talks about the devil and the sea goat. And to better grasp the Lord of Work, she says that we should take a closer look at the foundations of Capricorn. And she's saying that the devil in the sign of Capricorn challenges us to acquaint ourselves with the beast within. It urges and appetites, its shadowy dwelling places, and its insatiable craving for the light. So it's very interesting to me, like when I look at the RWs, the devil card, it has a very Capricorn look to it, right? Like the head of the goat with the horns. So like it doesn't surprise me to see it in this decan, right? Just some different interesting aspects that I kind of, didn't really pick up on until I started really looking at these cards during this decan walk. But I feel like it's very much that energy of change, right? Like, I mean, it can really honestly come down to people right now got a lot of stuff for the holidays. So it might be like reorganizing space, changing things out, taking that any money that we might have gotten and buying new stuff and getting rid of the old. Just like that, working towards that renewal, that refreshing of energy that it spoke about. Or just like putting yourself towards projects, right? Some of us have hobbies and things that we really enjoy doing, and we have to wait for Christmas to get that extra finances to be able to get that new, like kiln that we need, or the materials to make pottery, or those new pens or markers that you really wanted for your artwork, or different things like that, right? So I feel like it's very much kind of suits this energy, right? Okay, so let's get in. Let's read the Hermetic Tarot's aspects of these cards. I should probably let's read about Capricorn, and let's just get the energy of Capricorn. Okay, so like I said, it is an earth element. It is a cardinal sign. The symbol is the goat. I was just looking. She doesn't even have a goat on here, which is really interesting. You would think that she would have a goat in the card. Structure and discipline come naturally to the Capricorn. This wise elder knows that dedicated work ensures the fruits of labor. Mature and grounded, this earth sign climbs the ladder of success and is rooted in stability. So that's kind of our energy, right, of the Capricorn season, which goes hand in hand with everything we've been talking about, right? Okay, so we've read about the blasted tower in the past. We have had that. Let's look at the Three of Pentacles, and let's read about the devil too. All right, Three of Pentacles, Lord of Material Work. It's really interesting because the first thing that came to my attention is these thorn branches that are working their way up through these wheels. A large hand at the bottom loosely holds between its fingers the branches of a rose bush, which entwines upwards through the cards. Two white rosebuds surmount the topmost pentacle. The three pentacles are arranged in a triangle. Each pentacle has 12 emanating rays, but the center is darkened. A winged disc is at the top of the card. Above and below are the signs of Mars and Capricorn. Okay, let's look at that. I don't want it there. Let me move my hand so we don't get shadows. Looks like a lot of work. Like it gives you that feeling of working towards something, working through the thick of it, the hard stuff, right? Getting through. Really interesting energy on this card. All right, and then let's read about the devil. Lord of the gates of matter. On a pedestal sits the fierce figure of Pan, with his hairy body, goat head, and bat wings, spiked crown, and a flaming torch. His crest is the winged solar disk. The pentagram at the center is inverted, indicating dark forces. Chained to the foot of the pedestal are two demons, one male and one female, half animal and half human. At the foot of the pedestal appears the sign of Capricorn. The symbol of Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, at the top left. The fiery wand is the energy of Mars. And there we go. Yes, definitely has that feeling, right? Very interesting. Let's read about these cards that have changed over here. And we still have to kind of read about Mars. We've had Mars in the past, so let's quickly touch on Mars. Sorry, guys, I'm a little out of it and all over the place. I don't have a good flow today. Very out of it. I'm in that that weird trance state that happens between Christmas and the New Year, where you're like, I don't even know what freaking day it is. Mars is the planet of drive and ambition. It is the warrior that seizes the day. Energetic, active, and assertive, this fiery planet gets what it wants. Courage and bravery are its qualities. It is the will to live and survive. Vitality and sexual libido are its territory. Yeah, so it's that very much that drive, that desire, that focus, right? Which I feel, once again, is definitely in this card. All right, let's look at these ones. Let's look at the Hermetic Tarot. So the Queen of Pentacles in Hermetic Tarot is the Queen of the Thrones of Earth. The Ace of Swords is Lord of the Roots of Power of Air. And the Princess of Swords is Princess of the Rushing Winds. And we haven't seen any of these, so let's quickly read about them. Okay, the Queen of Pentacles. A beautiful woman appears in profile. She wears an ornate helmet with the spiral of the snail representing the never-ending fertility of the earth. She holds in her hand a scepter surmounted by a large cube and the three-dimensional hexagram. In the other hand, she bears an orb of gold. A large goat head with horns entwines a crystal sphere at the bottom of the card, represents the fertilizing power of the great work. The queen's throne is very large, rising from the earth and surrounded by luxurious oak leaves. Ooh, let's look at that. Very beautiful card. Has a very grand feeling to it, if you ask me. Very beautiful. I don't know if I would have seen that as a throne, though, so I'm glad that they say that it's a throne, because to me, it doesn't look like a throne. It just looks like a geometric shape. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Swords and the Princess of Swords. Okay, so let's look at the Ace of Swords. All right, so the Ace of Swords. A large hand issues from the clouds and grasps the hilt of the sword, which supports a white, radiant, celestial crown. To the right is an olive branch of peace, and to the left is a palm branch of suffering. The symbolism of this card suggests invoked force as contrasted to natural force. Raised upward, it invokes the divine crown of spiritual brightness, but reversed, it symbolizes the invocation of demonic forces and becoming fearfully evil symbol. Interesting. Not how I feel that card reads to me at all. I can see the invoked forces instead of a natural force, like forcing something to happen. I can see that in this card. Interesting. And then the Princess of Swords. An Amazon figure with serpentine hair is wearing loosely fitting garments. She has a characteristic of both Mervina and Artemis. She stands in front of an altar to avenge its profanation. I don't know if I'm saying that right. In one hand is the sword, the other hand is attached to the altar. She stabs downwards with her sword, and beneath her feet the heavens and clouds are angry. Above her head is the crest of Medusa. That is a weird card. Okay, let's look at this card. It's strange. So here we have I'm guessing this is what they're considering the crest of Medusa. Here's the lady wearing loosely fitting garment. And then I think what they're saying is this, I don't even know. I guess this piece right here is the altar. I don't know, very strange card. Not one of my favorites and art-wise, but it is what it is. So yeah, so there's kind of a catch-up of everything. That's where we're at. We've got all of our different elements of these energies have come in. We're in our Capricorn. We've got all that happening. So this is kind of what's going to be unfolding for us for this Decan. I feel the energy is already present. Our next video, if I get to that, our next video is, this one goes from December 31st to January 9th. So our next video will be January 10th, in which we'll be looking at the Four of Pentacles. But right now we are in the Three of Pentacles energy. I hope everybody had an amazing Christmas and, was able to celebrate Yule if you do so. We are still in it. We are towards the end of Yule if you do celebrate that. And yeah, hopefully this Decan isn't too crazy for anybody, and we kind of just harness those abilities of working and creating things and changing things. And hopefully the Tower card brings you positive upheavals and not negative upheavals. Other than I feel that the energy is kind of really muted in this for some reason right now. I don't feel like it's as dominant as it has been in the past. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the day.